Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. So I see already people rushing to the snack bar. You can stay, it's going to be very interesting. And it's actually a good complement to what you just heard from Plug Power, talking about hydrogen production. We're going to talk more about the usage side. I'm from Air Products, so let me introduce myself and what we do. We at Air Products have set a goal to generate a cleaner future, probably like many other companies around here today. And this takes several different shapes within Air Products. We do hydrogen for industries, but we do also hydrogen for mobility. That's what the H2FM Hydrogen for Mobility team endeavors is to provide solutions for decarbonization of hydrogen vehicles. So who am I? I'm leading the solutions definition for our H2FM group. I've been with Air Products for over 20 years now. I'm one of those old dinosaurs here, and I was lucky to witness for over 15 years the evolution of hydrogen technologies within the vehicle side, but also from the supply chain side. It was a very interesting journey. Obviously, a lot of work has been done, and we see now maturity coming with the expansion of usage. As a company, we've been deploying hydrogen for mobility, as I said, for 15 years, for over 20 years, sorry. And it's a great learning curve that we're going through. What I wanted to talk about today is actually a subject that I touched upon last year. So I was going to ask you a question to start with. Who was there sitting in this hall about a year ago listening to about the same guy, a bit younger at the time? Thank you. So I see mostly people from my own company, which is great. It seems I didn't bore them last year. I see some heads that were there last year, and it's great because I'm going to talk about the same topic. It's not about being lazy and using the same slides. It's about actually continuing the story that I told last year about Metrobus Crawley, our customer. We announced last year the signing of a contract for the supply of green hydrogen for powering up their fleet of buses. It was a pretty exciting moment. And a year later, I think there is a lot to talk about, a lot to learn, and that's what we'd like to share. Really practical experience of what it is to convert a fleet of vehicles to hydrogen. So Crawley, for those who don't know pretty well the geography of the UK, like myself 2 years ago, Crawley is very near Gatwick Airport. The bus operator, Metrobus, operates a fleet of over 100 buses on a daily basis, serving the airport in particular, but also the city. Their site, as you can see on the picture, is a pretty tight site for operating over 100 buses. And that's a critical element for them. The fleet they own and operate now has a very stringent operating time and refueling time of about 6 hours every night to service entirely the buses. So that means refueling them, cleaning them, and that's really sort of a race for them. And that's a critical element. They decided to embark into conversion of their fleet to zero emission, as I said, about a year ago, with the ambition to start with the first phase of conversion of 54 buses. It's probably the largest fleet of hydrogen vehicles and buses in Europe at the moment, probably even outside of Europe. And it was a key challenge for them from the start. The objective was to be on stream in early 23. So let's see where we are now. The Air Product solution that we offered and to Metrobus Crawley is based obviously on our experience. And it starts with supplying the entire supply chain. So from the logistics of hydrogen to the site, to the equipment at the site, and the maintenance of that equipment. Air Product builds, owns, operates the site entirely and the hydrogen molecule up to the point of dispensing. That allows the customer to focus on what they do, which is transporting people. No need to operate a station, a complex system. They do what they do best, which is transporting people. We refuel their vehicle. The way we are supplying the molecule depends on the sites, and we supply liquid hydrogen in many cases, in particular for heavy-duty applications. That allows reduction of the footprint for the equipment at the site and allows high-capacity refueling to meet the customer requirements. And finally, and probably most importantly, we provide green hydrogen, for sure, but we warrant certification of that product along the supply chain. So not only at the production site, not only at the dispenser, we review, we control all the supply chain to the dispenser point. And that's very important for a customer who wants to decarbonize its fleet and have assurance that what they do is actually according to their expectation. So, so how did we create that solution for decarbonization of fleets? It's based on our experience in hydrogen, which is pretty extensive, to say the least, since we started about 60 years ago, actually powering up the first hydrogen vehicles, rockets. So probably not the most obvious, probably not the most used, but very interesting and great learnings were made from that. Since then, we deployed hydrogen in many different industrial applications, whether in electronics components fabrication to oil refineries. And we've gathered overall about 100 plants around the world to produce that hydrogen and produce almost 9,000 tons per day of hydrogen globally. That's a major number, obviously. And since the 1990s, we started engaging into hydrogen for mobility. Over now, you do the math, 30 years, we've been actually fueling vehicles. And I was talking about maturity early on. It's actually not only talking about my gray hair and 20 years in the company. It's really about the experience, the practical experience, refueling of over 13 million vehicles. That's what we try to apply every day. But producing 9,000 tons of hydrogen is not going to to meet the decarbonation targets. And that's why our products has been, in the last 4 years, investing and deploying a number of major projects globally to produce green hydrogen or blue hydrogen in certain geographies. It all started with the Saudi Arabia NEOM project we announced now about 4 years ago, which looks at producing the equivalent of 600 tons per day of green hydrogen directly connected to the renewable power sources of production. This project has been followed with a number of others, namely, I would say in the US, in Arizona and Texas, but also major projects in blue hydrogen. Blue hydrogen is something we have great experience with. We started in about 10 years ago in Port Arthur in Texas, and we've been producing blue hydrogen, for over 10 years, saving millions of tons of CO2 emissions in that frame. So now overall we have almost 50% of the existing capacity of additional production that will be coming low carbon. So over 3,000 tons that is planned and in construction for supply of green and blue hydrogen globally. If we focus a little bit on Europe, we do produce hydrogen, green hydrogen, and distribute it. We have certified this hydrogen through the Certify scheme, and we continue to develop. We've announced last year the construction of, actually next door to this place, a new liquid hydrogen production plant, which is going to be the largest in Europe, and that will be coming on stream at the end of 2025. This is actually a major change in the mobility application, as the molecule will now be available in scale. And finally, major announcement that our projects made is about importing that renewable energy that we are using in NEOM into Europe. So we've announced terminals in Immingham, in Hamburg, and again, next door in Rotterdam Port for the import of renewable energy in the form of ammonia. Ammonia is then converted to hydrogen locally for distribution as a green source of energy to mobility customers. And that's what we're using for Crawley. Basically, Crawley solution is based on that liquid hydrogen refueling solution that you can see on the picture. Is right in the middle of the construction phase. And this solution is able to provide over 1.5 tons within the 6 hours of refueling window. So we're not talking about refueling nicely spread over 24 hours. That's not the way it works in a bus depot. They have a very strict 6 hours refueling time. That means a very high capacity system to be able to meet that demand. That's the phase one. The phase two of our customer plan is to actually look at converting almost entirely their fleet to hydrogen. That's why within the project, we've already planned for the second phase that will see an increase in capacity within the same footprint to meet their long-term demand. Each bus is refueled in about 7 minutes or less, depending on usage, which allows them to have a very fast operation, and the overall footprint is only about 20 meters by 20 meters. It's all based around our proprietary technology, the CHC compressor technology, which is a main differentiator. You can see on the picture the cryogenic compressors. They are very small footprint, very high capacity, and they can meet the demand that we're looking for. However, like any good project these days in the energy transition, it's not that easy. And Rome wasn't built in a day, and I can tell you Crawley HIS is not going to be built in a day either. We've seen issues on the permitting side, which is, I would say, a common thing in the hydrogen world. It takes time and effort to actually permit this sort of installation. So in order to help our customer, we've deployed a temporary solution. We're trying to stay agile, we're trying to meet their requirements. The buses have arrived, they need to operate them, so we'll be starting operation with a mobile system. It's important that we can help our customers all along the way until they actually get the full operation on stream. The system is fast and easy to operate and to install, and that's a key element when we need to be agile and flexible. And that really allows them to minimize the impact on their operation at the site. The system consists of a trailer, a tube trailer, the hydrogen storage on board that you can see, with an interface, a mobile dispenser that we provide to the site. We can remove that system within a day once we feel comfortable with operating for the main station. So 3 things that really we've learned. Some were probably not completely new to us, but we're still trying to learn and spread that message as well. We need support from legislators. We obviously need that to allow the end customers to convert. We need to see them supported financially in the purchase of buses, in achieving their target in decarbonization, but not only. We also need legislators to implement processes that allow fast permitting. Doesn't mean that we take any deviation from the safety requirements that we need, but we need to have clear guidance on what is required for the permitting. And that's typically what is missing, and it's a big issue when, as a bus operator or as a gas supplier, we need to meet a timeline. And that's very important for a real operator who cannot afford to have 50 buses standing by on their site doing nothing. And finally, and we touched upon the topic in the ambition of our products, we obviously are going to import large amount of renewable energy, large amount of renewable hydrogen to Europe. And we need to have an equal treatment for that hydrogen, which is not produced from locally sourced renewable power. The REPower EU program from Europe has clearly identified that Europe cannot provide entirely its green hydrogen demand from locally sourced renewable power. That's why we need to import hydrogen, and that's what we offer to do here. So I think overall, we just need to act now. We're ready, the technology is mature, we are ready to go ahead, and we just need to get support from everyone. So thank you very much for your attention. And the stand is just behind you, Air Products, the big map there. I think it's B23 if you're on the numbers. Thank you.